This is Weekly Woman by Jubilance for PMS. Well, thank you so much, Taylor. It's so exciting to have you on the podcast. Where are you calling in from today?
I am in Austin, Texas.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. That's such a lovely place. So I have family there, and I just remember all of the Tex-Mex, like Chewy's and the barbecue, which like is incredible.
Yes. I'm not gonna lie. When I first moved here, I gained like 15 pounds very quickly because I was just eating everything. The food is amazing here. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I had never tried Tex-Mex before because I'm from California originally. And like the queso, oh my God, that is like a game changer. Why don't we have that in every restaurant?
Yes, and like for us, we do. So I visited
Oh,
California, and your version of Mexican is more like Southwestern, more healthy
mhm.
than ours. Ours is more like cheese based and like sour cream, more fats. But it's delicious. It's so good.
That's what makes it taste so good.
It really is, yeah.
That's amazing. What is your favorite local spot about in Austin?
Ooh, there's so many. I really love Barton Springs is great. It's like an all year round open natural spring that's like constantly, no matter if it's 1,000 degrees outside, 60 degrees. And
Oh,
it's yeah. And there's a part of it, actually that's called Hippie Hollow, where you can like take your top off. And it's like secluded away from the families because Barton Springs is very family friendly. Um, but it's very like unique place to Austin because not many places you can just go and like take your top off and just be a complete hippie. Like, but Austin is very weird in that way, I guess.
yeah, you got to keep Austin weird.
Yeah, yeah.
That's amazing. Wow, I definitely had gone to the spring portion, but I haven't been back as an adult in a while. So got to try
Yeah.
out the Hippie Hollow.
Yeah, you do. Yes. Another great like thing to see is the bats under Congress Bridge. If
Oh
you've seen
yeah.
that,
Okay.
it's
Yeah, I did do
really
that.
cool.
That's
Yeah.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's like amazing parts of Austin. What a cool place to live.
It is pretty cool. And there's so many like creatives and musicians and like tech people, and it's a really like unique, cool place to be. Yeah.
Yeah. South by Southwest, right?
Ah,
Like that's
yeah, that was just a few
amazing.
weeks ago. Yeah.
Incredible. And
Yeah.
so you said you moved to Austin, and you got your JD, you got your MBA, now you're in Austin. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey? This
Yeah.
amazing journey that you went on.
Yeah. So I've been an attorney for 8 years now, which seems a little unreal. But to go back, I met my husband in law school and we moved to Abilene, Texas, which is very, very West Texas, middle of nowhere, very conservative, very like ranch town. To tell you how conservative it is, it has the most churches per capita of any city in the entire United States.
Wow.
Yes. So me and my husband are very progressive, and like that's just not necessarily like our vibe. It's a great city if you're like very family oriented and that is your jam. It just was not ours. But my husband was from there, and he's actually a fourth generation and a fifth generation attorney on both sides of his family. I know it's insane. It's stupid.
That's amazing.
Right. Whereas, like, my dad is the first person in his family to go to college. I'm the second in his family because no one else in his family ever went to college. So it's very different lifestyles there. But anyway, so he had a job lined up with his dad in Abilene. So he had already promised to go to Abilene. So we got engaged the week after we graduated law
Oh,
school. And so I was moving to Abilene, Texas, even though I had a job in DFW lined up. I politely had to decline and say, I'm sorry, I'm engaged. I'm moving with my husband, future husband. And so I was stuck in Abilene for about 7 years. It was supposed to be 5, but the pandemic hit
oh
and
man.
that kind of delayed things. And
Hmm.
So about 2 years ago, we moved here to Austin. So yeah,
Oh,
that's
wow.
where we've been. And 5 years ago, we started our own family law and estate planning law firm. So we also own a law firm together. Aside from me doing like Taylor the Attorney, which is my business attorney platform, sorry, that I do on Instagram. So yeah, I'm busy.
Mhm. Yeah, it sounds like it. You've got a lot going on. So why specifically law? What piqued your interest?
Great question. So I was actually a public relations major in college and
Oh.
worked at a public relations firm for about a year and a half. And I discovered that I genuinely just didn't enjoy it.
Mhm.
Um, but it was my senior year and I was already like, into my studies and I was getting this degree. So what was I going to do? I needed to go to grad school to do something else because I knew that I just did not want to continue down this path, but I had committed myself to this degree. Um, and honestly, I just took the LSAT out of a whim, thinking like, yeah, I could do law school. My mom says I'm argumentative, like, and I am. So why not? And so I just kind of went on a fluke and I happened to just completely fall in love with it. I love what I do. I love being able to help people
Mhm.
in a very specific way that like not many other people get to do and not many other women are in my field, which I hate, but it is a way for me to kind of like stand out and be able to help more women come to me.
And you kind of mentioned Taylor the Attorney, your platform that you have for helping female entrepreneurs. Can you talk a little bit about starting that and like what was the impetus?
Yeah, great question. So like I said, have been doing family law and estate planning for the past I guess 8 years now because I still primarily work there. And honestly, the system is not set up for women. The traditional business model of a law firm is not set up for women. Um, like specifically a large retainer when you're getting a divorce. Like not many women have access to at least $5,000, which is a typical retainer. Um, or just women having a lot of my clients also had to like have multiple jobs, and if they weren't like doing things like being a waitress or secretary work or something like that, they were doing like making jewelry or doing pottery or doing something like that and selling it online. And so I started thinking like, how can I specifically help women like build them up, because what I was seeing was women being broken down because I'm doing a lot of divorces, a lot of child custody. And there's a lot of domestic violence that goes on that people don't talk about. It's just really disheartening and emotionally hard for me to handle. And I can't do that anymore. So I wanted to do something that builds women up and helps them. And so these women that I saw having multiple streams of income, I thought like, how can I help them grow this into something that is like their one source of income that they can have and, build some generational wealth and like make it to where they're not living paycheck to paycheck. So that's kind of why I started Taylor the Attorney, why I did specifically focused on business. And I specifically focus on creative businesses like those jewelry owners or like a boutique owner,
Mhm.
really anyone within the creative realm and also within the service industry as well. So like coaches and all sorts of different people. So yeah, so that's kind of how I got into that. I just saw like a little niche in the market where these creatives, like they don't have $5,000 to go to a business attorney to get the contract work done. Like, and like who does? That's a ton of money. A big business can do that. And I do represent big businesses at my law firm, but the tinier businesses still deserve to have a level of legal protection too. So yeah.
That's incredible that you saw that place in the market and were able to create aid for that. I think your website is so easy to use. It's very user friendly, where people can check out like these contract templates that you've created and put together, and you have like the discretionary thing at the bottom that says like this may or may not apply, or like figure out how like it works in your particular state. but it seems so easy and user friendly and also affordable. So people can have that legal protection with those contracts and yet don't need to have that retainer, like you were saying. Who has that? Crazy.
I know, I know, I know.
Yeah.
But the bigger you get, the bigger your legal problems get. So like, yeah, if you're a big business, a $5,000 retainer is probably a drop in the bucket for you, but you do need an attorney at that level.
Mm-hmm.
But again, these tiny businesses, they still deserve a level of protection. They need to protect themselves because honestly, like they are the ones that are going to be impacted the most. If something happens to a big business, like it doesn't really matter. But if something happens to a small business, it can impact like their entire family. So it's
Mm-hmm.
a huge deal.
Yeah, I completely understand. My company that I work for is my family's business, and we've grown from a very small, like women-based, just like three of us to a much larger business, but had slowly had to like figure out putting an attorney on retainer and what those like contracts looked like for us. So it's very
Yeah.
interesting how that all works. Now, you put together some guides on your website as well, such as a tax guide, managing your LLC, creating and monetizing your blog. How'd you get this idea to start these guides and these downloadable booklets that people can learn from?
Yeah. Well, so it's kind of going back to like the traditional law firm model is not really made for women. Like it's just, again, people don't have, sometimes people come to me when they do find me and my fees, I do reduce them from what I charge at my law firm. But even then, if you're not making any money, how are you going to afford, $500? So I wanted a way to be able to teach them something within a very, very small price point so that they could learn some important things about business that maybe like are not necessarily services that I provide, but like they still need to be aware about. Right now, I'm actually working on a ebook that is on starting your business in Texas. So it's going to cover everything from forming your business, everything you need to think about beforehand, like the considerations of like what your business entity should be, what structure you should use, everything about taxes, when you should elect to become an S corp. How to sign contracts, how to get insurance, like pretty much everything surrounding how to form a business. I'm going to put into this booklet. I'm not done with it yet, but it's already 70 pages.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
so it's very comprehensive, but I've been having a lot of people come to me wanting to start a business and they also need a contract to protect them. And they cannot afford my services for me to do the full service, done for you, everything. To form the business and do a contract. And honestly, you can start your own business. Filling out the certificate formation is literally just a form that you download on the Secretary of State's website. So it's not something that you need an attorney to do. So I am putting this together just step by step so that it's a way people can start their own business very, very quickly and cheaply and legally be fully covered. And then they can come back to me and get a custom contract because now they've saved hundreds of dollars and can actually afford to get that legal protection there. So
That's incredible. When is this book coming out? I feel like everyone needs to read this.
yeah, it should be coming out here in the next few weeks. I'm putting the final details on it right now. I'm still soliciting feedback from people if you have any like questions or anything you want to submit to me to include. But yeah, it should be within the next few weeks.
That's incredible. Okay, we'll look out for it.
Yes, yes,
You'll
please
have to
do.
give me the link. I'll take this out, but you'll have to give me the link so we can add it to all of the bio stuff
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the
I
podcast.
definitely will.
Yeah. And so I'm curious, sort of in the same vein, what advice would you give women about finding a lawyer or seeking out legal advice? When is the time for them to do that?
Great question. Honestly, a lot of people, or I've seen a lot of people be kind of duped by lawyers. Um, and what I mean by that is like they've gotten the work done and it was worth that value they paid. It's just that they were not, necessarily like attorneys for creative people specifically. So like their intellectual property rights weren't protected. So you need to be sure that the person you're going to really practices that type of law and really focuses on the specific type of business that you are in or the industry that you're in, so that you are ensuring that you're fully protected. Because yes, we took, all of these different types of classes in law school, but once you get out into the real world, like you forget everything else besides what you practice, honestly. Like when people ask me criminal questions, I'm like, oh, don't even, don't even ask me. I don't remember. That was 10 years ago, almost, like, sorry, gonna have to find someone else. But yeah, within the creative realm, your intellectual property is everything, right? Like if you're an artist, that is literally what you make your money off of, is licensing your work and selling your work. So you need to be sure that those rights are protected. Another issue I've seen is that people will not even, they will put in a different state's law than where the business is located, because that's where the attorney is located, because they want you to come back to them for that litigation and that further work. That's not helpful to the client, because the client has to then hire you to represent them, fly out to your state to then go to court and go to mediation and go to depositions and do everything. And so it can be very, very costly just for like a one sentence clause. So those are the two issues that I see there. So you really want to be sure that who you're talking to really has your best interest at heart. And I know that can be very difficult, but really like going in person and having a conversation with them is going to be really helpful. I know a lot of people like to do telephone calls now. I do Zoom calls too. And Zoom is better than a telephone call, but really being able to like see someone eye to eye and really like see their body movements and see and feel comfortable with them and vibe with them. I know that sounds like such a weird thing, but this person is going to be handling like confidential information for you. You need to be very, very comfortable with them. And like you can tell them anything in the world and they can't go tell anyone else, unless you murder someone. But other than that, so you need to be very comfortable with them. And, you're going to have questions that pop up and like, you're going to feel dumb because you don't know the answer. And honestly, people just feel dumb talking to an attorney because a lot of us are assholes. But you want to be able to ask your attorney questions and not feel stupid, feel comfortable with them, because you need to know how to run your business. Like we can do things for you and draft legal documents for you. But at the end of the day, if a client comes to you and is like, I don't understand this provision of your contract, you need to be able to say what it means back to them, it's on you at that point. So that was kind of a roundabout way to answer your question, but yeah.
No, I think that's really helpful. Things to look for, and also just like knowing that this is such a relationship that you're forming, this back and forth between the lawyer and you and your business, and making sure that the vibe fits, like you said.
Yeah.
And I think like something that is so successful about you and your platform is that you make it so accessible to anyone who wants to like find just easy legal advice. I know there's a lot of confidentiality, but can you give us some broad strokes of some clients that you've seen and been able to help?
Oh yeah. Oh gosh. I have helped so many different people. Let me think of a good one. One recently that I helped was a boutique owner. And I see this happen all the time, honestly. Two people were just friends in a like local community organization and decided to open a boutique together. Then they later, had a little bit of tension and decided to split, which is fine. And so one of them came to me to help draft the paperwork so that, the interests were split and the payments were split out and everything. But we discovered in all of this that they had not paid their franchise tax. And in Texas, that is essentially like your privilege to do business in the state of Texas. And if you do not pay it, the state of Texas revokes the right for you to transact business in Texas. So Luckily, it had not fully been revoked. It was like on the like literally the last few days that she could call and make a payment, but there were a lot of penalties involved. I think she ended up paying like $1,500
Oh my gosh.
when she should have owed nothing, because it's the franchise tax goes up to like 1.25 million. And if you don't make over that, then you don't pay it, but you have to turn in the report every year. So she would have owed nothing, but she had to pay over $1,500 in fines, just because this other business owner was the person of record for all of the notices to be sent to, and she neglected them for months. She like went through her desk and found like 5 or 6 letters from the state. Like she
Wow.
absolutely knew what was going on, but she knew she wanted to leave, so she just let the business go. Yeah.
Wow. Well,
And
amazing.
it's a bad story, but it happens all the time. Honestly, my very first business partner, he and I do not even speak anymore. We split up as well. A lot of friends get into businesses together and figure out that you cannot treat your friends the same as your business partner,
Mhm.
and it causes fights, it causes tension. So it happens a lot that people they end up breaking up within a year or two with their business partner if they're friends. So it's so important to have like a company agreement in place saying what happens in that situation.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. And great that you were able to like come in and say, "Oh my gosh, we need to do this now."
Yeah.
A reason to have a lawyer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. Wow. Do you have a book about the law that you would recommend that everyone reads, or like a TV show that's like fun about it and more accessible?
Oh my gosh, let me think. Oh, I mean, SVU is always really great. I will say, if you're into like the whole She-Hulk is really good too. She's a lawyer and she does actually do like legal stuff in the show. I really enjoy that too, to be fair. Book wise, like honestly, it's gonna be very boring. 1L is a really good book if you want to learn about what law school is really like.
Mhm.
1L is about a guy in the 80s who went to Harvard Law School, and he like wrote a diary every day, and it's based on his diary records. So it's a recounting of what happened and during his 1L year, his very first year of law school. It's pretty eye-opening.
Wow. That sounds a
Yeah.
little scary to read. I just picture Legally Blonde, and I know that's completely not the right idea of law school.
I mean, honestly, I look around at some lawyers and I'm like, how are you a lawyer? So it's not that far off.
Um, and something that we always ask on this podcast is, what is your definition of womanhood?
Oh, good question. Womanhood, I guess. I would say just being able to fully like embody who you are as a person in whatever like way that you define that personally, and
Mhm.
feeling just fully 100 and confident about yourself in that way.
I
Does that
think
make
that's lovely. Yeah, feeling the confidence and being able to define it for yourself. That makes so much
sense?
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I've finding my own identity has been such a like self journey for me. Like it's such a long journey, and I feel like now that I have defined my identity and I feel so confident and bold in that, like just being that and stepping into that fully every day is like an act of like rebellion. I don't know.
That's
That
great.
makes sense.
Yeah, that feels good. Yeah, we are
Yeah.
rebelling. I mean, just the fact by being female, we're rebelling every day. And like the
Right.
work that you do, family law or the going into Taylor the attorney, that's rebelling against the system.
Yeah. Yeah. I am an Enneagram 8, so which is like the one that confronts people and fights with them all the time. So,
Ooh,
and many women are not, but I'll be the one that does it for you. Don't worry.
wow, amazing. Taylor, how can people find out about you?
Well, on all my social handles, I am at Taylor the Attorney. Super simple. But you can also check me out at www.taylortheattorney.com. Yeah, so that's how you can check me out.